Not today, Bubba.
Go get him, Bubba. Love you.
Not today, Bubba. Gordy, can I bother you for a second? Heart, folks, coming to you live here, episode 88. The Brilliantly Dumb Show. For those of you watching on the YouTube right now, Bobby went a little tropical on him today. I figured, hey, why not? Episode 88. Let's hit him with the trop top. That's exactly what we did here. Really got that Bahamas type feel here to episode 88. Folks, this is indeed the Brilliantly Dumb Show. I am indeed Big Gabe Bob coming to you on your local airwaves. However you're listening, wherever you're listening, my goodness, we're just happy you are indeed listening, folks. Before we head over, it is interview day. Before we do so, want to give a monster shout out to you. Yes, you listening right now. My goodness, we hit 100K on Instagram. Nice little milestone right there. I'll be honest with you. All my friends kind of hyped up as far as, okay, we got to get to 100K. We got to get to 100K. And don't get me wrong, I was all for it, but I didn't know that I would enjoy it when it hit as much as I did. I kind of felt like on the Instagram that it would just turn to 100K and it'd be cool for a little bit and let go. Nope, not the case. Boy, did I celebrate. I had a big old bottle of tequila. I went harder for the 100K than I did on, I think, any New Year's party I've ever been. Actually, no, not last year's. I take that back. Last year's was actually pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, it was really an enjoyable celebration. I really wanted to get to that 100K. And, you know, I've always felt like, and I mean this in the most modest way possible, I always thought that we really had some of the best content out there when it comes to the Instagram or when it comes to the podcast. And look, I believe that. I really do. I think we have some of the best material out there. And by saying we, not just myself. I have Joey Coldcut. You bring in Grace. You bring in a Maddie Rigatoni. All these characters. That's when I say we. I just think we have some of the best content out there. And me and Grace, in order to keep Grace on the show, and as we explained before, was we kind of mapped it out and we said, okay, if we can hit 100K on Instagram, our following on the podcast will be big enough to keep her behind the glass on the ones and twos so she didn't have to go back home to the Middle East. We figured there would be some way to keep her here if I was able to just grow my Instagram following, which would then translate to the podcast. And that was kind of the goal. And it was frustrating because I knew we were against the clock and I felt the need to really build it up and make sure, you know, I did everything possible to keep her here. We wanted Grace back on the ones and twos. And 100K was always that milestone. So, you know, I was putting all these videos out there and I'd been doing these videos for so long, sending them to so many people. So at times it got frustrating, you know, watching it slowly climb. And look, it sounds crazy, but it is a grind. It really is to get it, to keep building up, to do different things, to come up with different material. And that was always the goal, and it felt real good getting there. And, you know, look, our goal is to keep blowing this thing up, get it as big as we possibly can. Obviously, we still have a long way to go. And the idea is some way, shape, or form, if we get big enough, we're able to get Grace back in some capacity, whether it's a working visa, whatever it may be. So it meant a lot. It meant a lot to hit that 100K. It really did. And it doesn't happen without you all, the fine folks of the show, of the Instagram following. I appreciate you all, and I love you all. I really do. It's really fun to be able to wake up and express your thoughts with, you know, a mass amount of people and get feedback. You guys get feedback and the DMs that I get, I see them all, by the way. DMs I'm always scrolling through. I see them all because you have to. You take in all the feedback. Where can we change? What can we do? I think the interviews have been great. You know, I love doing the pod bits. I do think we need some more conversation. I do think we need to bring in the regular cast more, get some Joey Coldcuts in there, bring in a Maddie Rigatoni, get those type of characters, keep up and running. But we got a good thing going here. I love you all, folks. We keep the good things going now. We head on over to Rob Riggle. This guy has been in just about everything. He's got a fascinating story of him being hired at Saturday Night Live that I really wanted to get into. Really just a great guy. And yeah, so we went ahead and we interviewed Rob Riggle. He's been in Step Brothers, Hangover, 21 Jump Street, a lot of comedies, very close with Will Ferrell. Very, very funny. You'll be the judge of that, though, folks. We take you over now to the Rob Riggle Show here, episode 88. You're listening to the Burnley Dumb Show. How's everything going? What a pleasure this is.
Yeah, this is nice. Just, making the rounds today without leaving my house. So it's kind of a nice thing.
I did. It looks like you're still standing okay, though. No, you're hanging in there?
Yeah. Just doing, making the best use of your COVID time, your quarantine time, I guess. Not COVID.
I got to tell you what, Rob, you got to think. I really think that I got you at a good time. You think about it. You're a Kansas City guy. I got the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl. The Royals are hanging in there, and I'm sorry to take a cheap shot at you, but it doesn't look like there's going to be college football, and that could be a good thing for the Kansas Chiefs. I'm sorry to start off like this, Rob, but
hey, we got nowhere to go but up. That's why I'm optimistic.
Well, I can't start, but the way I have to start before anything, I got to thank you for your service, man. I really appreciate what you guys do. My brother went to West Point, and just
nice.
Really, really appreciate what you guys do.
Well, thank you.
You ready to get rocking and rolling?
Sure, man.
Now, before we go into anything, I really want to jump into this Hoops coming up on Netflix, a new animated comedy sitcom coming to Netflix. I got a sneak peek at it, Rob. I find it to be hilarious. I really do.
Good.
How nice is it? This is a change of pace for you where you're doing a voiceover. Is it nice to come on set and all you got to focus? You don't got to worry about your hair, nothing, just making sure the vocal pipes are clear and you can let it rip?
Yes. I mean, yes, there's such an advantage to just getting out of bed, throwing a hat on, not shaving, you don't care about any, you're not trying to get spruced up in any way, shape, or fashion. All you got to do is go hang out with really funny comedy friends and just try to make each other laugh. Like, have a blast. And the script is already funny. So you already have this great starting point. And then you just try to add on to it or find things. And everybody involved is so talented and funny that and they're all friends. So it's playtime and you get paid to do it. And that's a really good thing in this world.
And you could tell the chemistry is there between you guys too. And then on top of that, you could pretty much just show up in a pair of sweatpants, no?
That's the best.
Rob, do me a favor. Take me to it's one of the more fascinating journeys as far as being able to serve for 23 years and have the career resume you have, not just serving, but also in entertainment too. You said something that I found to be hilarious. We talked about you being a Kansas City guy. You talk about going to flight school to get your pilot license, and you said that Kansas is pretty much one of the best places to learn to fly because it's so open, it's so flat. You pretty much can't miss the runway if there is no runway.
I'm telling you, if you have the best place to learn to fly is Kansas, because honestly, any engine trouble you have, you just put it down anywhere. You're going to be fine. There's more than enough. If you have any altitude at all, you're going to find some place to set it down and walk away from it. That is not always the case in more mountainous regions.
I got such a kick
Kansas
out of it.
Kansas is a great place to learn how to fly as far as building your confidence.
Right. You really, it's hard to screw it up in Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you fast forward, okay, and you decide that you're in the Marines and you decide you're going to leave flight school, okay, because you're going to pursue comedy and acting. Are other pilots and people in the Marines looking at you saying, what the hell are you doing?
Absolutely.
They were. I mean, were they busting your balls?
Everybody in my squadron, obviously my good friends care about me, so they're good. They're like, dude, this is exciting. Good luck. I wish the best for you. But there's a lot of people that were confused, not just in my squadron, but family members, girlfriend at the time. A lot of people were confused by it because it was their dream. Their dream was to fly planes, in the military or fly jets or helicopters. And great dream, but, that was their dream, and so it was hard for them to accept my dream. But like I said, the people that really cared about me, the good friends I had were very excited for me. And I'm still friends with all of those guys today. So that's a good thing.
Safe to say you got the last laugh, no?
Well, I don't know about that, but I definitely am glad that I chose the path that I did.
I'll
And I
tell
still
you,
got to serve, which is important because even though I left flight school, I stayed in the Marines just on the ground side so that I could, it made it more possible. It made it possible for me to also pursue comedy.
what's amazing to me is you think about it, you're pursuing this, and at the same time, you're still on active duty. So you could get called pretty much at any moment. And what really hits home for me growing up in New Jersey is September 11th, you get that call. Is I take it that's something that's just going to stick with you every day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was living in Manhattan at the time. I just left active duty, and I joined a reserve unit right there in Manhattan. And 9/11 happened, and since we were the only reserve unit in Manhattan, I was activated that night of September 11th. The next day, I reported to Ground Zero and began working on the rubble piles, moving debris by hand. Um, and I did that till September 30th, and then I volunteered to go back on active duty because I had a pretty high security clearance for my job, and I knew they were going to need people. And I was, to be quite honest, a little pissed. So Central Command picked me up on November 10th, which is the Marine Corps birthday. And I reported November 17th to Tampa, Florida, to Central Command. And November 30th, I was on a plane to Afghanistan. So it happened very, very rapidly. Yeah, so that's the story about 9/11, I guess. I kind of lost track of what the question was. I apologize.
Is there any side of you when you just found out that you were going to have to go that was kind of in the regard that's saying, here I am, I'm pursuing comedy and acting. I know I want to get into this, yet you have to go. Is it safe to say you were disappointed, or after seeing what you saw, you were ready to go? You were ready to go into Afghanistan.
Yeah, look, I wasn't, on September 10th, I was pursuing comedy and acting, and I was quite happy. I had no intentions, but after that, after we were attacked on September 11th, everything changed. I felt my priorities shift, and I was a captain at the time. I had a lot of training in certain areas, and I I knew they were gonna. I was in a rare position to do something, so it became very clear to me what I was going to be doing for the next year. And
Safe to
that
say
was,
you were one of the funniest guys in Afghanistan.
yeah, I think that's probably fair to say.
But you know what's amazing? You're out there and you're kind of holding back this comedy in your back pocket because you have to obviously obtain that level of, you were very high up in the Marines. Was it hard to at times during off times hold that back and not let these people see the side of you?
No, it's a tricky thing, but no, when I being a Marine officer, I never want to project to anybody in my charge that I'm not serious or proficient at my job or my responsibilities. So when I was time and place, when I was in charge, I was very prudent in the way I conducted myself and executed our missions and did the things I had to do. However, I also, you can't change your personality. That's what makes you genuine. That's what makes you connect to other people. And people, especially Marines are smart, man. They can tell genuine leadership and genuine people in a heartbeat, and they don't tolerate insincerity. So so I never tried to change my personality and be someone I'm not. I always maintained my personality. I just wasn't trying to do bits.
Now, now we fast forward 2002. I believe it was, you get your shot at the holy grail of comedy, Saturday Night Live. And I've heard you tell the story, and it's just fascinating. Saturday Night Live, you get this audition. They text you an hour before of what comedy club to be at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way yeah, I got back from Afghanistan at the end of 2002, right at the beginning 2003, and this would have been the summer of 2004. You get they invite you to audition, and you have to be invited to audition. You can't just go audition.
Of course,
So it's
right?
an invitation type thing, and they invite people from Los Angeles, Chicago, Toronto, New York, and it's a handful of people from every place. So say 5 people from every place. And in order to it's a 2-part audition. First night, you go to some stand-up club, to be determined, and you get up and do 5 to 7 minutes of your best stuff. So what does that mean? Well, for stand-ups, pretty simple. It means you're 5 to 7 minutes of your best material. For improvisers and sketch comedians like me, who I wasn't doing stand-up at the time, you do characters. So you do character monologues. So, 3 original characters and 3 impersonations. All right.
Right.
And each character gets a minute to crack them up, so to speak. Because that comes out about 6 minutes, which is right in that window.
Right.
So, but what they do is they don't tell anybody where you're going that first night, because they don't want the New York people stacking the house with their friends and family, and then making it a big laugh riot when you come on,
totally,
and booing everybody else. So it's a real cloak and dagger operation. So I literally went and sat in a Starbucks in Midtown and waited, and I'm trying not to be nervous, and I'm trying to be positive.
The call's coming at some point of where to be.
Right. And then then they do a mass call out to everybody, because all the people that flew in from LA and Chicago, they're all in their hotel. They send out the call and they say, you got an hour or an hour and a half, whatever, to get to, or an hour. You got an hour to get to Comic Strip Live on 78th and 3rd Avenue.
This is wild.
And you go, okay, I'm out of here. I got to go. And you go get in a cab, or you jump on a subway or a bus, whatever, and you haul ass to the comedy club. You get there. You meet in the lobby area, the bar area. As you come in, they know who they're looking for. They get your name. They put your name. They put all the names in a hat. They mix it all up, and then they start drawing. And sure enough, up first tonight, Rob Riggle. First.
In the sense that they're going to forget about you by the
yeah. I mean, they're seeing like 20 comedians, and I'm first. I was like, well, thanks God, thanks for that one, because I guess it's over. And not only that, but the audience isn't warmed up. They don't know what to expect. They think they're seeing stand-up, and they're going to get an improviser doing character work. So I'm like, there's a thing about going in the middle or going towards the end where, the crowd is in that laughing mood. They're kind of, they've warmed up. There is a warming up. It is a warming up. And I had to go out there cold, and try to sell my goods. Luckily it worked, because what happens is then after that first night, they narrow the group. So it goes from 20 down to 8.
And you're seeing guys drop off, guys that you saw at the first audition, you're now not seeing at the second one.
Right, because the second night is then you actually go to 30 Rock. You actually go, where the host comes out and does his monologue, he or she does their monologue. That's where you do your second audition. And they actually put you on camera so all the NBC executives in Burbank can watch the auditions along with Lauren, Tina, whoever the, Higgins and Shoemaker, whoever the producers are now. Those are the producers then, but, and there's no audience. Oh, and by the way, Lauren, Tina, Shoemaker, Higgins, all those guys saw you do your whole routine the night before. So they're not going to laugh.
They're not going to laugh.
And there's nobody else out there. So they tell you, don't panic. Don't panic when you drop that first joke and no one laughs. It's not a big deal. No, I don't care who you are. You drop that first joke and you don't hear anything but crickets, your adrenaline starts to go. Your pulse picks up, your tempo picks up, and it's hard to, be cool.
Yeah, keep it all together.
Right. And, so anyway, you do it again, and then you walk off the stage. They take the microphone off you. They walk you to the elevator bank, and they say thank you. And in the blink of an eye, you're standing out on, 6th Avenue, going, what just happened? It's a daze. The adrenaline is so, and you're literally out on the street, out in front of 30 Rock, going, I think I just auditioned. I don't know. They don't tell you anything. They're like, maybe I'll hear from them, maybe I won't. So you go home and you beat the hell out of yourself for the next week or two, going, God, why did I do that? I should have done this. And you beat yourself up relentlessly. And then they either call you or they don't. It's real simple.
Folks, we interrupt this message to let you know that the Brilliantly Dumb Show is brought to you by Raycon earbuds. Grace, sometimes I need to just dial it in, be in my zone, forget everything else that's going on around me. What do I do so? Slip a couple Raycon earbuds into your ears and you'll be in your zone. It's a big game, Bob. Guaranteed. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a noise isolating fit. That's what I'm talking about, Grace Ibrahim. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon, RAYCON.com/dumb. Yeah, dumb. That's buyraycon.com/dumb for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/dumb. Let's keep this show moving on.
Well, you know what I love? What you use to kind of get you going. You said that during that filming, there's a cameraman, and the cameraman's kind of laughing, no? So he's
He's
kind
the
of
only
getting
one.
you going.
There's a stage manager who counts you in and is kind of and a cameraman, and they're the only ones who haven't seen anything you're doing. They don't know anything about you. And I will say that is a good point. I saw the cameraman. He's behind the camera like this. I did see him going like this, which was indicating to me that he was chuckling. And the stage manager, God bless her soul, she was smiling at me going like this, like that was awesome. So that was the only thing that allowed me to sleep at night.
And then you get that call, the ultimate call from Lorne Michaels. And does it all just change? I mean, what takes place?
You think it would? You think it would? It changes in your mind, I mean, because it's a dream come true. You've been pursuing it for your whole life, basically, in some sense.
Right.
And it's such an iconic show. It says such a rich history. It's something that I grew up on. All the different casts. You get to. There's so many comedic icons and legends that have walked those halls. So yeah, it's unbelievably special. And, you get the call, it happens, it's real. It's not some fantasy anymore. It's not and then of course you want to call your loved ones and share it with them. And yeah, it's just a special thing. And then of course you get there and you gotta go to work and it's big and it's scary and it's overwhelming. It was the first job I ever had in show business.
Which is so amazing. How many
it's that thing where it's like drinking out of a fire hose. I mean, I couldn't have been any greener. I couldn't have been. It was the absolute, people would say things to me and I didn't understand it until like 5 years later. I'd be like, oh, that's what they were talking about.
Right. Because you didn't really have that chance.
No.
It's and another thing too that I wanted to ask you. You've been on some of these movies that you've been on. They're just absolutely hits. And you've been on a lot of them. Okay. You work with a guy like a Will Ferrell. You do all the Step Brothers, 21 Jump Street. When you're on set with these guys, do you just know at times we got a hit where the chemistry is so good on set? You're watching this all play out. Is it in your head like this can't miss?
No, there's never that thought.
You don't have that at all.
Never that thought of it can't miss.
Right.
Now, I do have thoughts of this is fun. We're all laughing pretty hard. The execution of that scene was amazing. Or I love this guy's character. Or we crack up and we have fun. But trying to predict anything in this business is a fool's errand because there's just no way to know. Weird things can happen opening weekend. You get slammed on the same weekend as a Star Wars movie, and even though the movie's great, no one sees it. Well, there's things that are out of your control. I will say though, that there are times when you're shooting it that you're like, God, this feels good. God, this is fun. I hope this flies. I hope nothing gets in its way because it feels so fun.
You said that you really got that with Step Brothers to where a lot of it was on the script. You guys were kind of just doing your own thing to some regard.
You could make a whole nother movie. You could make a whole nother movie with the stuff they left on the cutting room floor. I promise you, because Adam McKay is a genius when it comes to improv. He is a improv and sketch guy, from Chicago, Improv Olympics, Second City. So he understands the value of improv, and he knows that you're going to get some of the best dialogue and some of the most creative, authentic stuff. The problem is, though, when you start improvising in a movie, you get really funny stuff, but it doesn't serve the story. It goes kind of off the rail.
Right.
And even though it's hilarious and it's really good, there's only so much time in a movie, and so you got to keep the thing moving forward. So when it comes time to trim the fat off it so that the story keeps moving, a lot of that stuff gets, cut out, but it belongs somewhere,
Right. And it almost feels like the script doesn't even really do it justice, in the sense of, you could read the script, but like a guy like Will Ferrell or even yourself, you're going to deliver it maybe different than what you read on the script. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why I think people seek out improvisers, is because,
right.
I can look at a script and I know what the intent of the scene is. I know what has to be accomplished in the scene. Like, by the end of this scene, I know I got to have the hat that's on his head on my head. Okay. So if that's what's got to happen in this scene. Now, they have a lot of dialogue about how we're going to do that. But if I can add to that, if I can use some creative language, use some, some techniques or some, mannerisms or some trickery or whatever to make it feel more real and funny, I'm going to try it. And when you have a director like Adam McKay or Todd Phillips or Jake Szymanski or any of these great comedic directors, they are going to allow you to play. And the other people in the scene, if they're improvisers or have improv comedy backgrounds, they're going to understand and they're going to play with you too. They're going to, it's like volleyball. You got one guy sets, one guy spikes,
right?
And sometimes it's your turn to spike and sometimes it's your turn to set, and you just got to know how to give and take and play. And so, yeah, a lot of that movie was improvised, and I give a lot of credit to Will Ferrell for being gracious enough to let other people shine.
Right,
that's his movie, and yet he's so gracious that he's like, you're killing it, go. And that's not easy to do. And Adam McKay for also saying, yeah, run amok. Have fun with it.
Which probably is what makes it so great, no?
I mean, in my humble opinion, yes, yeah. It does. You get more things that feel organic and feel like they're actually coming out. Because, I can read the word on the script. I can read the line on the script. And I can change that line to verbiage I would use. And then I can sell it way better than I can sell their words.
It's incredible.
So a lot of times I do that. Now, sometimes they're sticklers. Sometimes, you don't want to cheat the other actor because they're counting on me saying this line as a cue for them to say their line, right? Or for them to react or whatever. So if I change it up too much, they're like, what are you talking about? Because, so you have to know who you're playing with. You have to know there's a time and place to try all this stuff. You don't want to just be some loose cannon who comes on and blows off the script, doesn't know their lines, and that's never going to fly. That's never.
And you'll lose all chemistry out of the get-go. No.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a thing where you have to come in, you have to know your stuff, you have to know exactly how to sell this and play this. But given the opportunity, why not try it using your own verbiage? Why not try it where you're going to put a little twist or a little attitude on it or a little something? Because, more times than not, it feels really fun and real.
You guys ever just having so much fun that you want to keep the night going and you go and have drinks together after?
All the time.
No doubt about it.
When we were actually at the Catalina wine mixer, we could barely get through. Like, it was just playtime. Like, we could have stayed there all day and all night and come back the next day and the next night and done more and more and more. All the stuff with 80s Joel, all the stuff with threatening Will, like I did 100 takes of that where, half the time I was asking him how to bury a body, how to get a body off an island. Where can I score 2 kilos of cocaine on an island? Terrible things and they were all designed to put him in the worst position possible, because here's your boss saying, how do I bury a body or how do I get rid of a body? And I would always try to force him to be in the worst position possible. And because that's where he's going to have the most fun, is trying to negotiate that. And so for me to say that his face bothered me, there's no, how do you deal with that if your boss comes up to you and says, he has a problem with your face? And that's why he made me die laughing, because he was like, okay, all I can do is take that in and process it and try to, and it was so wonderful to watch him try to negotiate that, because it's unbelievable. Like, how do you negotiate that?
Oh, it's so great though. I was like, we as the fans, we see the final product, but we hear this from you, and you don't realize all the other shit that's going on besides the fact that just of what we're seeing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. Dude, I got to tell you, Rob, you are the best. I know you got a long day ahead of you, folks. You go ahead, check out Hoops, the animated sitcom coming to Netflix August 21st. You have some fun here on the Brilliantly Dumb Show, Rob.
You're going to love this one. This one is awesome. It is the cast is amazing. Some of the funniest comedians in Hollywood, and they're unhinged. They're allowed to shoot from the hip. There's no holds barred on this one. It's an R-rated animated series that I think people are going to enjoy.
You haven't let us down yet. I don't think you will here. We're looking forward to it, brother. You're the best.
Thanks, man. Nice talking to you.
You too, buddy. You take care.
All right.
All right, folks, there you have it. Rob Riggle, like I said, heck of a guy, funny son of a gun. If you've seen his movies before, if you haven't, he's one of those guys, if you don't know him, if you Google him, you see the face, you know exactly who Rob Riggle is. Absolute character. Fascinating story. I love that Saturday Night Live thing, because in all honesty, the Saturday Night Live, that is like the throne of comedy getting there, and it's almost a sure thing for you to have a pretty successful career if you find your way on that show. So the fact that it was his first show, 23 years in the Marines, I mean, it's pretty amazing. But that, folks, does it here for episode 88, now 89. We go back to the audio the way we used to do these things. Back in the day, we keep those rolling. Got to mix in those audio episodes. So next week, it is just me and you, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of laughs, a little bit of fun, a little bit of sports. Folks, we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Brilliantly Dumb Show. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. New merchandise is out as well. BrilliantlyDumb.com. Give that a look as well. We will see you next week, folks.